the devastation that Hurricane Melissa has caused across Jamaica looks and feel different from region to region and from home to home. We're going to show you some of the footage that are in less recorded communities that have been devastated by the hurricane, as well as some of the footage that we've taken for the city center and areas around where we reside, just to give you an idea of some of the less showcased areas of disaster and devastation, because all of Jamaica was affected. There are just places that have been affected worse than others, or have more severe disaster and devastation than other places do. And so we want to give you a view of some of those places that you might not yet see.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me, yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Big up yourself. For the day you're your dear broad. Welcome back to another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. On this episode, we're going to just try and see how we can showcase to you some of the things that have happened. You know, we understand that the hurricane devastated the western flank of the country. It is the place that has been greatly affected. However, there are other parts of the country that have also been hit with floods and terrible winds that have caused severe destruction of property for people across the country. And we are aware that people are working tirelessly to try and get themselves back to some semblance of normalcy. And also, we want to bring to your attention that the hurricane's destruction was much worse than we had imagined that it would be in just about all of the areas. Some extreme catastrophe and calamities and disasters have taken place on the south coast, especially with flooding in certain areas like Santa Cruz. Buildings have been decimated in places like Black River, in the northwestern part of Manchester, in southwestern Trelawney and North Trelawney. There is flooding and wind destruction in Montego Bay and other parts of St. James, in Westmoreland and in Hanover. There is flooding on the eastern part of the country. And what we're going to show you now are some of the footage of areas inland that aren't seen as much as some of the other coastal ones, where people have network and are able to quickly access and video. Come out to the town just to see how things are going, but the sun is sunning, which is good. We're glad to see that the sun is back. It doesn't seem as if electricity is restored back into Mandeville, because down the road we saw a downed light pole still. However, we were hoping that things would have been turning out here, but it seems like people are just operating off generators at the moment. So we're just going to walk around a bit and give ourselves a little reprieve from being indoors for the longest of while, and then walk around and see how the situation is, and then go back home. So we will, whenever we get the information to you, we will. We came out to try and see if we would be able to connect and get online, but that hasn't worked out. So we'll talk to you when we talk to you. Can you see that tree on the side? It's rooted up from the ground. And if you look over there, right up here in the distance, you'll see those houses just behind some thin trees. I was never able to see those houses all the time. All these times that we've had this property, I've never been able to see those houses over there. So it shows you how those winds decimated that section of the landscape, and several other sections and areas look like that. And that's our landscape outside from up above so that we can show it properly. That's the ackee tree that we've been showing you throughout. It has lost a limb, as we've told you in our previous video. And of course, it's totally trimmed down in its canopy. But look at that June plum tree over there. The tree is still standing, so it will recover. There is a house up there behind the June plum tree. I can now see that house clear as day. I couldn't see it before like that at all either. And so that's what's happening here. We've also lost the roof of our air tank to the wind, and the pump for that section, the cabling and stuff that goes into the tank for the pump and stuff. We've lost that. My neighbor called me to say that he's got it over there. So we don't know what will be redeemable with regards to that and where we go from there. So we're just going to get ourselves ready to repair the things. We've heard about my local community that I'm from and where I was raised. And I've heard that so much damage has happened down there. So much damage. Houses split apart with landslide. Roofs just lift off and gone. And so I know that in that section, which is in northwest Manchester and the southwest of Trelawney, and also all of that western side of St. Elizabeth, including Black River, we've heard about disasters that's happened there. We are not on network yet, so we don't know what's happened across some of the other parts of the country, because we are still where we are. We're still without electric, and we're still without internet and even network, so we can't even call people to see. It's from those people who have come by to visit us just to check to make sure that we're okay, that we're getting some updates about things that are happening in other areas. And somebody came from our community to come and visit us from where we were born in Northwest Manchester. My father also came from Christiana to come and visit us just to make sure that we're doing fine. So we're trying to see how we can get back onto the network, and we are going to be keeping you up to date with some of the things that have happened in the country, just so that you can get a balanced view of what's happened. But so far, we've heard that it's been really devastating at that end. And I'm just imagining that it might be similar going towards more westwardly as well. So hopefully before the weekend, and maybe even before you see this video, hopefully the networks will be up and people can communicate with their families. Maybe Kingston and those places are less affected in terms of the network because the wind was towards the western part of the country. So hopefully people can communicate with those people. But people who are in the path, we've heard that Montego Bay, the airport there, Sangsters International, has flooded. We've heard about schools, that were shelters that have lost their roof, so they had to resort to shelters in homes and other places like that. Which, from my memory of Gilbert, when we lost, when people lost their roof, we lost ours where we were living at the time, and people allowed people to come into their houses who had roof and space and just accommodated people. So I'm aware that those are some of the similar things that are most likely to happen as well. But we will keep you posted with whatever information we have as we collect and gather those information to just make sure that what you're getting is actually authentic information as it exists on the ground. We are determined to protect and maintain human dignity with anything that we're showing you. And as such, we're avoiding putting people in the footage. So we're making sure that people are not as visible in the footage that we're showing. And where they are, we're making sure that they're far out of view so they are not going to be recognized. Because we know that we cannot exploit the misfortune of others at a time like this. And we have to remember that though people want to know what's happening to people on the ground, we also need to be sure that we are not doing it at the expense of other people's dignity. The number of houses that have been affected in the Cornwall County and Western Middlesex County are just so many. And we can't forget people that have experienced flooding in the east of the country. And so we just need to make sure that we're keeping everybody in our prayers and that we're going out and giving our assistance and our support in whatever way, shape or form that we possibly can. For those of you who might have heard of it, it's in the Windalco area, or what was Alcan, the entrance, which has no residential dwellings in that area, but many were reported of being involved and people were reporting otherwise. We are consciously aware of it. There is no denying the devastation across the island. However, please be mindful that AI images are being generated and that people are over embellishing the stories that they are sharing. Only in Manchester recently, for example, we had some water runoff that has built up in the Williamsfield Kirkvine area, and many stories were heard about it, most of which were really not true. My father went there, he drove past it because he wanted to have an understanding of what it is that people were talking about and what was happening there. And of course there was the flooding from water that is coming from the hills and also probably underground water that was coming up. However, I just wanted to highlight to you that although these things are happening, they're attracting a lot of crowd and attention because people are, flocking to see them for just to see what's happening. Some people are flocking to see them so that they can create content around it, and people are just flocking out of curiosity. And then when they go back and relay the story is very much embellished. And so we just need to be mindful of the information that we're hearing and just take them with a pinch of salt and use as much common sense as possible when you are dealing with these information. However, we want to show you some of these footage of things that have happened across the country and how Jamaicans are rallying around to help to make sure that they are fixing up their environment and making sure that they're getting things back into normal as much as they can. And of course, we know that there are lots of support that's coming in as well to ensure that Jamaica is able to deal as much as possible with the disaster. However, in a lot of areas, it is a lot worse than we have thought, whereas in some areas, the devastation is not as bad. So just be cautious with the information that you are seeing.
It's literally clear road all the way over Trelawney.
That means that they know the time of the day. Watch out.
This is Trelawney. Lots of landslide and lots of stones rolled down in the road.
I want to push out there.
It looks so. It's like a tractor make the road back.
Just push you out to get them.
Landslide.
This road gone.
That look like it's basic residents that's trying to clear the road. Even kids and parents. It's literally residents.
It's a volunteer.
Yeah, they're just volunteering themselves and their time to help clear the road. Look there. Look on that tree there, look on that tree there. Just put it on.
This is like a separate boy from big man, you know, if you don't put on a dollar.
That's a true.
Separation there, you know, you know.
Where we there now?
Yeah,
Battersea. This is Battersea. Is that in Trelawney?
No,
Senton. Lots of landslide, lots of blocked road. Piece of road break off somewhere. Lots of, wow, that Tonwa River down there. Some. Go on, grandma, yeah, come move up and down though.
Ah, so we go spend some of my prosperity money. No.
Not true.
Prosperity money. No, my sandbag and still take off some money. Yeah.
catch up if you cut on them.
Can pass.
Cut you on,
Yeah.
GPS now, if you come from pull up your way and that.
Fix. You have to go carry one whole chuck a post for fix back.
None lie down now, you know, so none what
Everything level.
I think I want a digital pole or something like that.
time. This is a devastation chapter. Peace. Wicked breeze coming on. This is like a boat shop and so. Is the breeze coming on? Is the breeze coming on? It's a polar shit. Peel out the shop or something. It's a lean pan shop.
Thank you so much for staying here with us on this another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. We thank you for spending the time with us, and we continue to pray for people across the country, and we continue to look for opportunities that we can support in whatever way possible to help people to get back to some sort of normalcy. Do take care, walk good, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.